What up, your Tim is here. Here is my Throwback 7 where I talk about the films that turned 10 and 20 this week. Alright, the films that are turning 10. First up, we of course got Premium Rush. Now, this is pretty much a high octane action film that stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt along with Micah Shannon. And it's where like this bike messenger played by Levitt, is chased around New York City by a corrupt police officer who wants an envelope with a messenger in it. And now this movie also has some other really cool actors like Denai Ramirez was also in this. It was directed by David Keough, who also directed some other stuff like Secret Windows with Johnny Depp. He also, I believe, he did Mordecai. Oh, that was terrible. And he also wrote movies like Spider Man, Jurassic Park. So he has done some really hit and misses here. Premium Rush is awesome. I mean, I remember like this movie literally came out of nowhere back in 2012, and I had a fun time with this thing. I mean, the whole movie is pretty much Joseph Gordon-Levitt riding around in a bike, on a bike and everything. I mean, I don't ride bikes at all. I cannot balance on bikes, but man, the effects in this thing was really cool. I mean, it wasn't heavy effects because it was mostly just him riding on a bike, but man, some of the stunts here was cool. I mean, I had a fun time with this thing. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, 2012, by the way, was his year. Back in 2012, I remember he did stuff like The Dark Knight Rises. He did Looper. I believe he was also in Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken. So 2012 was pretty much Joseph Gordon-Levitt's year. So I'm going to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt make a bit of a comeback too, by the way, because he's in that new Pinocchio film coming. But I've always loved Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I mean, I've always found him to be a cool actor, and this is maybe one of my favorite roles of his. He is really cool. Micah Shan playing the villain is great. You also got my girl Jamie Chung. She is always terrific. So got some really cool cast members in this. If you guys never seen Premium Rush, do yourself a favor, go check it out. It's a really fun flick. I mean, the whole movie takes place in New York City, by the way, too. So there's that as well. All right, also turning 10, we got the action comedy Hit and Run. Now, this movie stars and is directed by Dax Shepard, and even I believe Kristen Bell was also in this one. I was saying because it's a Dax Shepard movie, so obviously you gotta have his wife there. Now, the film also features Bradley Cooper, Tom Arnold, Jason Bateman. Now, if you guys don't know much about the story here, it follows like this man who has been placed in federal witness protection, going on the run with his girlfriend to escape a mobster here. Now, of course, Shepard after this will later go on to direct the Chips movie, which I'm one of the rare folks that didn't mind. Hit and Run is a really fun film. I mean, you had Bradley Cooper playing like the villain in this. He is really great. Jason Bateman is terrific. I mean, this is a really fun film worth checking out. I mean, it sadly sort of flopped at the time, and it did not do so great in the box office. I mean, Dax Shepard, I've always liked Dax Shepard. I mean, I've always liked him in Chips. Parenthood, he was pretty good in. But sadly, he's not really much of a box office draw. I mean, even Chips did not do so well either. So it's a shame. I mean, I've always liked the guy. I mean, remember Without Paddle? That's a really good one too. But yeah, Hit and Run is a really fun film. If you guys ever seen that. All right. Also turning 20, maybe one of the worst. Turning 10. Also turning 10, one of the worst horror films I saw that year, and that was The Apparition. Now, this movie, of course, starred former Twilight star Ashley Greene, former Harry Potter star Tom Felton. You had feature Winter Soldier guy Sebastian Stan in this. I was really intrigued to see this movie because of the cast alone, but the movie sucked. I'm sorry, this movie was garbage. Now, if you guys don't know much about the story here, sort of like the plot follows three college students who, after the death of their friend, must battle supernatural force they summon themselves. This was not scary at all. I mean, the reviews for this thing was terrible too. Take it, the apparition. Let me see. Let's see. Rotten Tomatoes score. Yeah, the thing literally has a 3%, so that says something too. I mean, this was a god awful horror film, and it's a shame too, because I've always liked Tom Felton in the Harry Potter movies, and I always love seeing him pop up with stuff that is not Draco Malfoy related. But even he could save this film. I mean, he was probably the better part in them, to be honest. Yeah. And of course, Ashley Green, I've always liked her in Twilight. I mean, it's a shame she has not really broken out into that. She hasn't really had like a big break outside Twilight, though. I mean, she's done stuff here and there, but yeah, I mean, she hasn't really had that big break that Robert Passer or even Kristen Stewart had. I mean, same with Kellen Lutz, too, or even Taylor Lautner. Like, dang. Not everyone could be Patterson or Anna Kendrick or Kristen Stewart, I guess, but still, yeah, the apparition was not so good. Anyway, now films turning 20. Oh, this is maybe my favorite one. We of course got 1 Hour Photo. Now this is of course starring Robert Williams in a very different role of his. Here he plays like this photo technician who develops an unhealthy obsession with a family who he has like long provided services to. This is one of the creepiest Robert Williams performances you'll ever want to see. I mean, obviously, whenever you think of Robin Williams, you always, would go to comments like Mrs. Doubtfire or he's done dramas too. Obviously, he won his Oscar for Good Will Hunting. Of course, he's done some other cool stuff like Good Morning Vietnam, Aladdin. But he really went to the dark territory with 1 Hour Photo. I mean, he was super creepy in this thing. I mean, just his like obsession with his family, stuff that he goes through in this is so intense, creepy. I mean, it's not really a horror film. I never considered it to be a horror, but I guess you consider it should be Robin Williams' first major foray into the horror genre. But still, I had a fun time with this. If you guys ever seen that, all right. Now, also turning 20, we got the Undisputed, which is a boxing movie starring the likes of Ving Rhames, Wesley Snipes, and it's where like this undefeated world champion prize fighter played by Ving Rhames is convicted of rape and sent to prison, where he must confront and fight the reigning prison boxing champion played by Wesley Snipes, and one man fighting for his honor, another fighting for his future here. Now, of course, they did do like some other sequels. I believe Jay White was also in the sequel, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Undisputed also had some other really cool cast members too. Let me post some cast members here. Undisputed. You also had Wes Studi was also in this. Michael Rooker, John Sada. Yeah, you had some really cool cast members in this movie. I mean, the fight scenes is really cool. I mean, it's pretty much like Rocky in a prison. Well, I guess you really want to look at it's like Rocky meets Shawshank Redemption. That's what you get with this film. It is really fun, really entertaining. So definitely give Undisputed a go. All right, other films turning 10. We got Simone, which is like this crime-based comedy starring Al Pacino, Jay Moore, Evan Rachel Wood, Jason Schwartzman. Where like it's a story about this producer named Victor Tanaski who creates like the believable synthetic actress Simone. However, swept by her instant sex, including like a major singing career, the producer cannot also bear to admit his fraud to the world himself. It's not that good of a film. I mean, maybe one of Al Pacino's worst films in my opinion. It's not all that great. I mean, you did have a young Everett Wood in it, which is always great. I'll get you her in a bit as well. But yes, it's not all that great. It's a little boring to be honest. Yeah, not all that funny. I mean, yeah, Al Pacino's character is not all that likable either. So there's that too. All right. Speaking of Ever Rachel Wood, by the way, turning also turning 20 is her film Little Secrets. Now, this was actually like Ever Rachel Wood's very earliest film, like before her big break, like a year before her big break, which was of course the movie 13 that got released like a year after. Now, Little Secrets also starred former Sky High star Michael Enterana. I think I could never pronounce his last name well. And it's where like Everett Will, who plays Emily, is like this plucky preteen who is entrusted with her young neighbors and must is very entrusted with her young neighbors, private and cherished secrets. And every Wednesday, Emily sets up like a booth in her backyard that attracts the guilty young souls of the neighborhood. And these also include Phil, played by Micah, whose clumsiness and his interest in Emily makes him a challenging client here. And you also, it's mostly a movie about someone trying to keep her secrets. Evan Rachel Wood is actually pretty good. I mean, I've always been a fan of Evan Rachel Wood, whether it's her role in 13, whether across the universe, the wrestler. She's made one of the better parts of Westworld, to be honest. Yeah. Evan Rachel Wood has always done some really great stuff, and of course, this was like when she was, acting as a child and everything. Before her, adult, before her adult days, I should say. And of course, crazy to believe next year 13 is going to be 20. Oh boy. I mean, yeah, 13, 20 years old next year. I mean, wow. Anyway, yeah, if you guys haven't really seen Little Secrets, it's not really an average Will movie that even gets talked about, to be honest, yeah, but it's a really decent film worth checking out. But that's pretty much it. Let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one is actually Premium Rush, and the 20-year one is 1 Hour Photo. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon signing out.